the next few minutes, I just want to talk to you about how to survive grad school. We've heard a lot about striving and thriving, and those are great definitions. But to me, sometimes it's all about surviving. So in order to summarize how I feel about grad school is, you do you. So my first term of grad school went pretty smoothly. It was extremely stressful and hard. I ventured over to engineering and earned a healthy respect for the hard work that they do over there, especially coming from geography where we don't do math. In my second term, my life got a lot bumpier. And these bumps, they may take any form for anybody, but mine in particular took this form. My supervisor went on extended medical leave, and I was left in the lab by myself. After several months of believing that I was okay and coping with my project by myself in the lab, I finally had to concede that the only way for me to continue to be successful in grad school was to switch supervisors and switch projects, meaning I basically was starting over again after 8 months in the program. My mental health had created to a point where I was having meltdowns daily and multiple times a day. I was having panic attacks, sitting in the corner of our lab just unable to function. And if it wasn't for my lab mates and my supervisor understanding those kinds of things, I wouldn't be here today. Eventually, with their support, I was able to go to Student Health Services and receive the help that I needed. Now, over a year later, I have finally begun to realize that the switch from my supervisor wasn't my fault, but it was about me. Your supervisor will at some point give you the "it's your thesis, not mine" talk, which sucks, and nobody likes to hear about it, because it makes you feel like the world is sitting on your shoulders. They really are behind you, though, and I want you to hear the talk like this. In the end, you have to write a thesis or complete courses depending on what your program is. Publications aren't the most important things of your master's, though. You are. Enjoy the perks that grad school allows for. Volunteer somewhere in the community or somewhere on campus, somewhere random that you never thought you'd want to even try. Reach out to a non-for-profit and help educate the community on what you do. When you've worked really hard on something, and that depends who you are or what you're doing, what that definition of really hard is, so don't compare yourself to someone else. When you've worked really hard, take a break. You deserve a day off. Like was mentioned earlier, don't work on weekends. You'll hear that some of your peers are working on weekends and you're like, oh my god, I have so many things to do this weekend. Life happens. Keep going with your life. If you're really struggling, you're not alone. Everybody has said today that there are resources on campus and you're like, sitting there like, I'm good. I'll be fine. I'm doing well. It'll be okay. And I was those kids too. I sat in the audience here and I was like, I'm like a superhero. I did my undergraduate here, I grew up in London, I know everybody on campus, it'll be super. You wouldn't believe how long it took me to admit that I needed that help. I get past that burnout stage. I was sitting in my bed and I was unable to come and ask for help. And I hit over that peak. And you would not believe the anxiety and exhaustion that comes with lying to people that you're okay. Don't lie, it's not worth it. So what I want you to do is enjoy your graduate time. Don't rush. It'll be okay. Things happen. Life happens. Your ex isn't terrible. There's a lot more of us than I thought that there were actually. I really thought I was alone. I'm like, oh, it's like half my apartment. That's cool. And you might be labeled whatever. People still like you. It's not like you like wrote a second hand or anything. So I have to say, from being the girl who sat where you sat, except for this campus, we changed locations. 2 years ago, I was like, I don't need to write these low essays down. That'll be fine. Write the low essays down. Like seriously, write them down. And if you can't write them down or if you've forgotten, you can actually just show up at Student Health Services if you're in the middle of a crisis, and they can help you. You can go to the wellness center, and they will help you find what you need to find. You don't need to sit in your office and be upset and cry. There's always someone who can talk to you at that moment. Don't avoid it. And if you're having a great time, shout it from the rooftops, guys. You're allowed to have a good time. So basically, welcome to Lester. Sorry, that was a little bit sad. But if you ever need to talk and you don't want to talk to an adult, because they are terrifying, I don't ask. You can come talk to me. It's not a big deal. I feel you. And yeah, welcome to Western.
Hi, my name is Carolyn, and I'm from the Physics and Astronomy department. I'm doing my PhD, and I was asked to talk to you guys about thriving and how I've been surviving my 4 years, technically 5 years of my PhD. So first I was asked to talk a bit about myself, so I'm going to attempt to do that in less than 2 minutes. So I'm originally from the island of Barbados. I came to Canada just for grad school, never been to Canada before. It was terrifying because I thought I knew Canada, and I didn't. So I had a lot of culture shock, and it was a lot of Skyping mom and dad and being like, I want to come home. But I stayed. So another thing is I love music. I keep that as a hobby no matter what. You know, this is one hobby I would never give up. I kept it through high school, I kept it through undergrad. No matter how stressful stuff gets, music is my thing. Like the outline said, I am a physics PhD student. I kind of started off with my master's, but then I love Western so much, and apparently my supervisors also love me. So I stuck around, and now I'm doing my PhD. While at Western, I've had a couple of accomplishments. I won several awards at conferences. My favorite award is the Canadian Association of Physicists. I got that for public speaking. I also participated in a 3-minute thesis, and I also work at the Teaching Support Center, and I'm the lead TA for my department. So all that stuff you can find out about at the Teaching Support Center. So my advice is to anyone that's afraid of public speaking or has never really had an opportunity to speak publicly, I would say that the 3-minute thesis is a great opportunity for you to get to talk about your research to people that don't know what you're talking about. Because sometimes we're trapped in our little bubble and we think that, hey, everyone will understand when I explain it the way I explain it in my department, but chances are no one will. So this is a great way to practice. And the Teaching Support Center, if any of you have never taught before, you're afraid of teaching or anything like that, then going there and getting help is something I would really advise. This is something I didn't do. So I took my first course when I taught. I didn't go in the beginning, and I was a complete train wreck at the beginning. And then I was like, okay, I need help. And I went to them for help, and I think I've gotten better. But I am a work in progress. So I know today is all about thriving, and we're grad students, and we all believe that we should be superheroes and do everything perfectly. But my advice to you is actually just to pass. So what do I mean by that? So first, you should plan. Plan and prepare. Determine what your goals are. You're going to be here for 2, maybe 4 years. Maybe you end up being your ex. You have no particular idea how long you'll be here, but set those goals. Determine what it is you want to be. How are you going to get there? Determine your long-term goals and the short-term goals that you are going to use to check in on yourself, like, am I really on the path that I want to be on? So, then you're going to want to assess yourself. You're going to want to be asking yourself maybe every end of the month, like, what have I accomplished this month? And sometimes doing that really helps to motivate you when you can cross things off that list. So assess yourself and reassess yourself. Because if things aren't going the way you plan, then you're going to have to start changing that plan just a little bit. The goals stay the same usually, but the plan, they can change. You can take different paths to get to the same place. So don't worry about having to change your plan, okay? Now the first S is for staying focused. Because in grad school, you want to be everything to everyone, and guess what? You can't. So you have to stay focused and determine what your priorities are. You have to determine what things are important to you. Family, definitely important. School, important, but you have to determine when certain situations arise, which one is more important at that particular time, correct? So that's the first S. And the second S now is to stay safe. What do I mean by that? I mean, it's always possible for us to get bowed down in work, and then we feel so stressed out that we really don't know what to do. But taking time off, taking time to do your hobbies, like for me, when I'm really stressed, I decide I'm gonna vent to write my songs from my friends and those kind of things. So have those hobbies because it helps to keep you focused. And if you're having a hard time staying sane, then try going to all the resources that were talked about earlier this morning. Because everyone is there to help you. And everybody wants to see you succeed. No one is against you. And if you keep those things in mind, then I'm sure you're all going to pass. Okay, thank you.
There are so many of you, and only one of me. Fabulous. So my name is Tamara. I'm the president of the Society of Graduate Students here at Western, and as any of you who have talked to us either at our booth or heard from us in your department orientations today, or earlier this week, or maybe tomorrow, we have a lot of services and advocacy that we do for graduate students, and I'll talk a bit about that in a second. But inspired by some of the other fabulous presentations today, I'd like to talk a little bit about my own PhD. I'm also a Year X student, Year X PhD student in the Department of Political Science and the Collaborative Graduate Program for Transitional Justice, kind of a mouthful. And I've been here, I did my undergrad at Western, I did my master's at Laurier, and came back to do my PhD here. And there are, as you've heard from everyone before me, a lot of fabulous resources on this campus, a lot of great things to take advantage of. I have 3 pieces of advice that I've learned over time. I would say the first one is know that you're supposed to be here. I don't know if you've heard yet about something called imposter syndrome, but I don't know a graduate student who hasn't at some point in their career looked at themselves and said, what am I doing here? Nobody knows that I'm just faking this, that I'm an imposter, that I shouldn't be here, that I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough. But know that you are. From working with SOGS, I've had the opportunity to meet so many diverse graduate students from really interesting backgrounds. There's no one path that leads you to graduate studies, whether you've worked before, whether you've come straight from undergrad. And everyone has something to contribute to your graduate program and to the graduate student community. You've heard a lot about best practices from various people, and I would say that everyone you talk to will have an opinion as to what the best practice for various things is, what the best way of studying for comprehensive exams as a PhD student is. Working on weekends, working late at night. Everyone has an opinion, and one of the most important things that I've learned really over the last year is that you have to figure out what works for you and learn how to tune out what everyone else is saying. Take their advice based on their experiences, but know that it has to be what works for you. The second piece of advice, which you've heard multiple times this morning, don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask us at the SOGS office if you would like to come and visit us. We are in UCC 260, and our staff have lots of experience. Some of them are students as well. But ask anyone, ask upper year students in your program, how did you do this? What's the best way to do this? There are no bad questions to ask. And the last piece of advice that I'll give is take advantage of all of the opportunities that you've heard about this morning or that you hear about. A lot of the most valuable things that have contributed to my PhD, and probably that have led me into Year X, if I'm being honest, are things that I didn't expect to happen. I didn't expect to be the president of the Graduate Student Council. I didn't expect to be able to travel to places like Guatemala to do research. And this has added time to my PhD, but I would say that all of these things are time that has been well spent and have taught me far more things than just sitting in the classroom or just working on my thesis. And so I would say be open to all of the opportunities that present themselves to you, because you really can do a lot of very interesting things and have a lot of fun through the course of your grad studies to supplement all of the great work that you're doing through your research. So I'll talk a little bit about SOGS. As I said, we are the Graduate Student Union or Student Council. We represent all of the graduate programs on campus. We provide a number of services, and if you've heard from us already, we've talked to you about the bus pass, the health plan, the extended health and dental plan, a number of financial assistance programs as well as the grad club at Middlesex College, so the on-campus pub and restaurant. We have a number of orientation events that are coming up next week from September 13th to 16th, and I would really encourage you to come out and meet people from outside of your department to have a chance to chat with people in other programs and to learn from them. You never know what interesting collaborative papers could come out of a conversation over drinks or a meal at the grad club with someone from a department that you never really expected to collaborate with. All of our orientation event information, from our bonfire night to the International Student Meet and Greet, all of this information is available on our website, which is saux.ca. We also do a number of academic activities like the Western Research Forum, which is a conference that happens every spring, and offer peer support as well if you're looking for another place to reach out for help. So thank you very much for having me. Good luck in your year and welcome to Western.